Hello everyone, welcome back once again. So, recently I uploaded my certification for CELTA by Cambridge, and I got multiple messages asking about the process and difficulty level. So, just to help those new folks in getting through this journey and getting the certification and the experience of this wonderful organization, I'm here today to help you in understanding how it is and how I went through it, what all I did to get the certification, and how you can go ahead with the certification if you really wish to. So I'll start with the first thing that came across me when I decided to do CELTA. So it was British Council, and I wanted to be an IELTS examiner. So that's why I applied for this profile. And the first thing I came across was that I should be a CELTA certified person, and I was not. So I just signed up for that. Started with British Council website, where in the drop down I got this option of CELTA. If you want, I am sharing that link in the description of the video. You can use that link and reach to this application form. So now coming down to step 2, which is filling the application form. So the toughest part, which I remember, was writing it down, because after COVID we are not in the habit of writing things down. We are much more dependent on our laptops, but this certification needs a handwritten form. So it's, I think, 15 pages is the length of this form, and it's filled, so I can share it. So you have to just fill this form, which includes 2 things. One is the grammar knowledge checking questions, where they talk about certain concepts. And second thing is the essay type questions, where they want to understand what kind of teacher you are, what kind of teaching ideologies and approaches you carry, and definitely your experience with the language is what they're asking about in this particular form. So once you're done with filling out this form, you have to share a scanned copy of this to the email. They have mentioned the email on that platform only. If you want that, I'll mention it in the description box also, so you can use it from there. Coming down to step 3. So now you've scanned it, you've shared it with them. Now just wait. Step 3 is waiting, which is hard. So you have to wait till the next stage, which is the interview stage. So then you will be interviewed. So in my space, we were 3 candidates and there was 1 examiner. And I think it goes same in every person's case, but yes, they may change. So in my case, it was a group interview for me, and they just asked you questions based upon basic English knowledge and your form, the one that you have submitted. They don't want to say that you're right or you're wrong, but those questions are about your approach. If you think this way, then justify why you think that way. So those are the kind of questions they're going to ask. And yes, they do check your grammatical knowledge, that what kind of understanding you have for each of them. And during the journey also, you can grill this part, but they don't teach you exactly this part. Now coming down to the next aspect, which is qualifying the interview, definitely. So once you qualify the interview, you get the slots, and then you have to decide which one you are going to go ahead with. Okay. Coming down to the most important day in CELTA certification, so that is your time when you actually start the certification. So they teach you multiple things in multiple weeks. And when I say multiple things in multiple weeks, I just want to add one thing. It is both online and offline, and there is no difference. And if you want to pursue the offline thing, you have to move to Delhi. I was not willing to relocate, so I just stayed in the online mode, and I attended my classes and completed my CELTA course. Now coming down to what you do, they basically train you and teach you about multiple teaching approaches. That is the most important learning I had. After coming across CELTA, I now know the basic reason why certain of my strategies failed in my class, because my approach was a bit wrong in that case. Coming down to the second week, they will teach you how to look at the raw content. So when I say the raw content, it's about how you go ahead with a newspaper and create a lesson plan, how you just pick up a normal pamphlet and create a complete lesson out of it, complete training session out of it. That's what they did in the second week. Then coming down to the third and fourth week, they taught us certain techniques which which comprise of ICQs and CCQs, how you frame them, how you deal with timelines in your classes, how you teach people using timelines like tenses, how you teach them better. And coming down to the fourth week, they teach you some techniques to which they have different names and terminologies. They teach you the visual techniques that you can use in a class to make it more great. Like some student is coming up with their perspective, generally we say yes, yeah, but in CELTA I learned I have to stay quiet. So the less a teacher speaks, the more the student speaks. So that's something I learned from CELTA. Very basic thing, but then I never practiced it. And I thought that it will not bring much change, but trust me, and it did, and it is doing even now. So yes. Coming down to the following weeks, they teach you multiple approaches, which comprise of different lesson plans, some text-based and some vocabulary-based lessons, some writing-based lessons, some reading-based lessons. So how we can go ahead with it, how we can conduct them in the online forum or maybe the offline forum. They complete almost everything. Coming down to the last of the weeks, yes, they tell you how to go ahead with the textbooks that they've shared, and they give you a wonderful amount of material. So it's about more than 30 books, and 30 books, I mean they are useful 30 books, which comprises of technique based books, and it comprises of grammar based books, and it comprises of textual books. You will also get access to Cambridge library through this course, and you can use that material as well. Coming down to the next and the most important part, which was TPs, training practice. So we all know about this terminology if you have heard about B.Ed any day. So in TPs, definitely you have to teach. So every week you have a task. You have a task that this is what you're going to teach in the class. But the difference is, as a teacher, well, I was teaching in the university, so I know what I'm training about. My topics are something I decide, and it's in my head. And it worked always. But in CELTA, you have to provide a copy of your thought to the tutor also. So your tutor will get to know what you are going to teach beforehand. If you submit it after your lesson plan, after your training is done, it's of no use for them. And you can lose marks upon this. So you have to prepare your lesson plan as per their formats. So that is another week where you learn formatting of how to create a lesson plan, and that's a big deal because sometimes you don't know how to come across this particular section or that particular session. So that is something you learn. Systematically organizing your entire session. Every minute is planned. So you go ahead with that planned session and everything in that sense. So that is what makes it very intensive. Why? Because thinking about a lesson in my mind is different. Justifying it on a paper is different. And justified lesson is okay, fine, but delivering the justified lesson in a justified way is a different task. Because at this point of our careers, we are aligned to thinking and doing. But thinking, putting it on the paper, and doing the same what I put on the paper is a different thing. For me, at least, it was. So yes, that was a challenge. And the best part in TPs is every TP has a feedback session. So they ask you how you felt about it, and they tell you what actually they felt as an audience about it. There are students also, but there are other trainees also who are doing CELTA course, and they will give you their feedback as well, which is hard to digest, but the best part to improve. So that is where you get a bang on every time you teach. Okay, this is right, this is wrong, this is what you have to change. And the quicker you react to it, the better improvement will be there in the next TP. And the journey is not limited to this. So in 1 week, I was teaching once and other teacher was teaching once. So once I was an observer, another day I was a teacher. So in both the ways, I was actively engaged and involved in the session whenever I am in front of my laptop screen. So that was another part. You not only teach, but you learn different teaching skills from other people also when you're observing them. So that is a plus one. And last but not the least, assignments. they are quite different because they're new to you, number one. Second, they'll not ask you, okay, tell me about this particular concept or this particular approach. They will ask you, if you say, I am moving ahead in one direction, tell me who says it. Tell me, who do you follow among all the authors? So what happens is, in that race of finding out who said it, you actually read books. So what I did is I developed the habit of reading during CELTA, and that really worked like wonders for me, because by reading different people's thought, I can understand where I went wrong in multiple of my sessions, right? So that's another part of CELTA. They make you a book reader, and they make you imply to that also, because if your answer, if your assignment is not as per their standard, they will give you a resubmission, and one submission, resubmission, fail. So there is no third chance. If you fail in the resubmission, you fail. And if you fail in one assignment, you don't pass the certification. So that is a bit intensive. That's where the pressure comes from. You cannot take a chance to fail in any assignment, and don't take a chance to fail in any TP. So make sure you teach well, make sure you learn well, and make sure your assignments are as per their standards. There are 4 assignments, 8 TPs, and that is what 8 weeks of course is all about. So actually it's 10 weeks, because 2 weeks are a break. So you teach 2 different level of students, then there is a break in between, and the first week is a break. So the course is actually 10 weeks, but you actively teach 8 weeks, and 4 assignments is what you have to submit. And that is what CELTA journey is all about. Yeah. So I hope I was able to help you all in actually coming across the certification, how it works, and how to get into the certification. And the most important thing is definitely money factor, which I know. So the charges are, I would say, not nominal, a bit high. So it's 1.5 lakhs that you have to pay for the certification, and approximately 1.5 lakh.
Because she just assumed कि पैसे तो होंगे इसके पास, पैसे सबके पास होते हैं.
Is what it requires in terms of monetary things. In terms of time, yes, 10 weeks is what it requires in the online platform. In the offline platform, it is, I think, 1.5 month is what it requires, because I did it in online mode, so I'm more sure about that. Coming down to the next question that somebody asked me was the difficulty level. So I would say, if you have taught English before this, it's medium to high, not very high. The difficulty level is medium to high. I range it somewhere between that. If you have never taught English in your life, then it is definitely high. But yes, we all felt that, yes, this is tough. It's now getting difficult for us every day to actually come across all those lesson plans and come across all those sessions and TPs and assignments. So it is difficult for sure. So if you are going to go ahead with it, I'll tell you, it requires commitment, it requires time, and it requires a lot of energy. Sometimes I made a lesson plan for about 8 hours also, and sometimes I made it in 2 hours. So it depends. Once you get a hands on it, you get the grip of it. But in the initial stage, yes, it takes a lot of you. Yeah. I guess I talked about everything approximately. If still you have any questions, we can conduct a webinar, open webinar, and you can talk about it. So do let me know in the comment section how you find the video, and if you liked it and you want to see further content on English and CELTA and my learnings and some lessons that I'm going to go ahead with in future, so you can definitely subscribe the channel. Yeah. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.